I'm on my last and second marriage to Deb. And when I got married the first time round, I knew wholeheartedly that I wasn't getting married because I was in love. I was getting married because I was looking for love. And when most people say, you know, no, we're getting married because we're in love, then why is there such a high rate of divorce? Especially in January, after all the business Christmas functions and things. But here's the thing is that if you're in love, then you wouldn't want to meet somebody else. You wouldn't want to be with somebody else. So that takes me right back to my theory that most people get married because they're looking for love, not because they're in love. And then coming back to this couple that I met last night from France, you know, many people would say that, you know, that was like one of the most ultimate sins is that, you know, you leave to go with your best friend's wife, or you leave to go with your best friend's husband. But then why suffer? Why suffer in a relationship where you are basically just buying a life through, I know, keeping busy together? And I mean, most couples are stuck together because of finances, or they're stuck together because they have children, or they are stuck together because they've got some kind of business they're running together. They're just stuck. And you know, whilst it is complex, especially when there are children involved, you know, why stay together if the love is for the sake of rather than it being in love? And I've met so many couples over the years that have been trapped in that cycle of being in a marriage where they're just content. They're okay with each other. They get used to each other, you know. I've heard the phrase soulmates so many times also. And then in time you see those soulmates getting a divorce. You know, lots of couples will put the right words in place to camouflage their true feelings and emotions where they are within that marriage, that relationship. So where am I going with this? Where I'm going with this is that what does love feel like first? You know, love feels like when you're with that person, you want that person to be the best version they can of themselves without you interfering. Love feels like when you're with that person you love, they have the freedom to experience as much of life that they wish in their way that makes them happy, and that you're in for the ride. And same both ways. You know, love is when your whole goal is for your partner to love themselves more each day. You know, that's my responsibility within my marriage, is to be sure that I make Deb love Deb, is be sure that whatever I do makes her feel more of herself, has more worth, more value of herself. And you're right, she should find that for herself anyway. But you know, I'm married into her life as she married into mine. So what's my job as a husband? My job as a husband is to out-husband myself. So basically my job is to each day create a better version of who I am, so Deb can experience that version. You know, most husbands and most wives kind of get lost in themselves, and that person you're married remains that stalemate, remains that same recyclable person over and over and over. And as a husband, why would I not want to, you know, find ways of reshaping myself into a better version each day, and to present that to my wife each day? Why wouldn't I not want to do that? I mean, she's given up a chunk of her life to be with me. So if I'm not prepared to find ways to improve myself as a being each day, myself as a husband each day, then that how am I repaying her for giving me, you know, a massive chunk of her life? Coming back, you know, so you know, that's my version of love, where you just unconditionally each day just wish to do everything, or will do everything, do everything you can that improves me as a person, which in turn then will present that to Deb. And alongside that, my role as a husband is to fill Deb in everything that's good about her and keep filling that. I didn't get that on my first marriage. My first marriage, I married because I had no worth. I married because I was looking for love. I certainly didn't find it, and neither did my first wife find it in me. We both married for the wrong reasons, and that is probably a large percentage of why people are unfaithful. Because what I've realized is, I've been with Deb 20 years, and you know, the thought of being unfaithful is so distant, where in my first marriage I could say that was pretty much a front thought. And that is it, you know. If you're looking for a way out, if you feel uncontented, if you feel that you're convincing yourself each day of, well, you know, I feel okay today, I feel I'm in love, yeah, you know, he's my buddy or she's my buddy, then basically you're in a relationship where you're looking for love but you're not in love. Let me just be clear though, if you can live that way, then be honest to that way. What I mean by that is, if you feel that you're happy being contented in love, contented in a relationship where your percentage of being in love is, let's say, halfway, then take the responsibility of that decision on and know, well, okay, that's what I am, and I am responsible for my decision in being in this relationship, knowing that I'm not wholeheartedly in love. I am partly in love, I am partly happy, I am very contented. And when you take that responsibility on, then you have to remind yourself on those days that you feel you don't want to be there, that no, I made the decision to be here. Or you be truthful with the relationship and you let your partner go. Because here's the thing, if you're not in love with your partner, then it's your responsibility to allow your partner to find somebody, or your husband or your wife to find somebody that can make them happy. Otherwise, you're just controlling somebody's life, controlling somebody's happiness for the sake of your own lack of worth or jealousy, or not wishing to go through the period where you will obviously see that person that you were with be happy with another person. And you'll get karma for that. You truly will. So let's wrap this up and say, if you're not in love and you want to stay there, then take that responsibility on. If you're not in love and you don't want to stay there, then be truthful and tell your partner or your husband, your wife, please find somebody else that can make you happy, because you cannot do that for them. And by doing that, you're going to leave that relationship with good karma, because you have given that person that you're not in love with an opportunity to find somebody that will love them in a way you cannot. That's just my theory of being in love and not being in love.